Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Jersey, and today I'm so excited because I actually get to do an idea that I've been having for a long time, and especially on this corner. We're back in my old town right over here, and in this corner that has been the same since almost day one. This was one of the first sections that we built when it was my original town, when Dinkum got first released, and it needed an update. It needed something really nice, something different, something unique, because this is also part of the courtyard, it's part where my museum area's at, and it needed a major update. It just needed. So today, I'm so excited because we are going to build a pond. But this pond, I want to call it the Jacaranda tree pond. But the idea of the pond, I want the jacaranda tree to feel big, tall, like it's kind of, we're gonna try to make a perspective illusion of the jacaranda tree. So when you're far away, you're gonna see this tree from the distance. And you guys know, like in Disney, when you go to the Animal Kingdom and you got the Tree of Life, right? And you see it from far away, from different areas. That's kind of the feel that I want to go. So here we are. So we're gonna build a pond today. So as you can see, the dimensions that I'm using is 15 by 13. That's the dimension that I decided to go. The great thing about this pond is that if you're following along, it doesn't have to be exactly the same as the way I'm doing it, right? You can make it a little wider, you can make it deeper, you can make it just longer. Just make the pond to fit the area that you're trying to fit. And the idea about ponds that I've been thinking about, like in this corner, it works out great because you can shape it whichever way you want to fit the corner that you want. You can add a little more dirt, you can take off a little more dirt if you need to, and you just keep tweaking and adjusting as you need to. So we did our dimension, so I'm trying to create a pond shape, right? So you guys are gonna see my character sometimes stopping, sometimes just going back, adding dirt, taking off dirt, because I'm trying to create this little depth as we're gonna start going down. So we took the first layer off of the dirt, right? So we took it off, we cleared the whole area. Now I'm gonna slowly start going a little deeper, but leaving just an edge around of the previous level, right? So we got the normal ground level, then the level that we dug down. Now we are digging out another level, and in the center we are going to dig another level. So we're gonna go even deeper, right? And the other thing that I'm so excited because we just had the anniversary update, right? So I get to use the river grass and the seaweed in this build. And that makes me think that without this update, especially with the spring update and this update, this build would not been as beautiful and as possible as we did. Also because the rock one, we also gonna use the rock one in this build. So in this build we're utilizing what we got on the spring and what we're getting in this anniversary update. And it's so exciting, like to be able to build stuff like this in Dinkum now, and what the future of Dinkum can be. I'm just so excited. Okay, so we're still tweaking, right? And one thing that I noticed that it was kind of hard to see is when you're trying to dig down, I did find it a little hard to work with the tape measure. It was great in the beginning, but sometimes, I don't know why, I was having a hard time seeing the block. So I went ahead, we took it off, and now it was a little more easier to see. Like the purple was so bright for whatever reason. It was the first time that I ever had that situation happen to me. Like I was having a little hard time working with the tape measure, but no biggie. Right now we're digging down. I'm adding just a little bit more over here just because I feel like it was too perfect. So I want to just shape it up just a little bit more, just keep tweaking it a little more. But now we're gonna go and make the deeper layer. And when we make the deeper layer, it's also to create depth, right? We wanna create depth, so when you're standing in front, it seems like everything just keeps going down. But also when we get to the point that we can start planting the seaweeds and just the river grass, we want to have different height, different variations of all of that, and that's part of the goal. So now I'm just, as you see, the character is going a little slow sometimes, even though this is a speed build, it's sped up. But because I was thinking a lot, And that's the one thing that I noticed when you're creating ponds is have fun with it. Just imagine how you want things to curve, how things to go. There's not a perfect way to make a pond. If you look at ponds in real life, they're all imperfect shapes, right? Sometimes they look very perfect. Sometimes they just look very weird and very like one side's thicker or wider than the other side. And I think that's what makes them more natural. If you want to make like a feel like it's like man-made, then it will be perfect, right? But if you're trying to make like this is a pond that was kind of naturally formed and stuff like that, then don't worry about the perfection of the pond in all the layers. Just have fun with it. Just create different layers. You could go even deeper than I did, right? But I decided just to go 3 down. I think 3 down sounded pretty good for the moment, you know. And this is something that, again, it's gonna be about taste. If you want to go deeper, go deeper. If you want to go a little more shallow, you can go shallow. If you want to go smaller, if you want to go even bigger than what I did right here today, then you can go ahead and go bigger. Okay, so the other thing that I was imagining in this pond, right? Now we made a platform to come out, right? Because what I'm envisioning is this massive jacaranda tree on the very top that's gonna go in the middle, but we are going to have to raise that. We're gonna have to just utilize the dirt. We're gonna work with perspective, you know, and when you get up close you can see the details, but when you look far away you're like, whoa, what is that build? How's that tree that big? And that's the idea, right? And at the end of the video I'm excited because we actually go to different points of view in the island to see how this looks from far away. And guys, it's just it is so good when we get to that point, you know, because as the trees were growing, I don't know, like the idea in my head is there, but as the jacaranda trees are growing, they're growing little by little as we go with each day, and I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna look good. It may not work, but we got to a point that I was really happy with how everything's looking. So here's the idea. So the idea is we make a couple pillars, right? We got one that's so far 3 high. We got the other one kind of, I don't remember exactly, but I think it was about 5 high. And then the idea is we're gonna go around. So we're gonna use 5 jacaranda trees. That's the idea, right? 1 in the center, and then 4 going on each of the 4 sides, right? And that's the vision, right? And as they grow and they get big, and then all the purple in the very top is gonna be massive, right? That's the idea. It's just kind of to have a top, have a size, and then by making them each column, like you can see in different layers, it's gonna give you that little high variation, like it's not perfection, and it's just gonna give you that look. And that's the idea. So hopefully when we get there, you guys agree that it looks really cool and the idea was worth making, right? But when it's like this little and they're growing like this, I'm like, oh man, I don't know. Maybe they all needed to be kind of the same level, or maybe they all needed to be, I don't know, like, but it did turn out good, guys. It did turn out good. Okay, so now I'm adjusting a little bit more of the pond, right? After we put the tree, I noticed, you know, there's a couple sections that I still wasn't too happy about. I wanted a little more space, and like the bench, I decided to put a bench just right next to this tree. Imagine it's gonna be this humongous shade, and then put a bench, right? And then we're gonna make walkways. We're gonna make a walkway that's gonna reach back here. So the other thing that I wanted to do, and I was looking at different pond pictures, right? And I noticed that a lot of them have very scattered stones in the pond itself, right? You may see like kind of like this type of stone right here, kind of like a very gray. You see green stones. You see a lot of kind of different textures inside a pond, right? And of course we don't have like different type of stones right now that we can use in Dinkum. We only got one rock at the moment, so I was thinking to use the pathing, different pathing between the mossy green and the cobblestone, right? And a combination of those two, put them in different places just when the waters feel, you know, because don't forget, I haven't brought in the water yet, right? I want to work a little bit easier. I know we got the diving helmet, but sometimes working like this is a little bit quicker than the diving helmet, and I can see exactly what I'm working on. So I'm just kind of scattered around. And again, this is just, as you can see, I don't have a set pattern. I'm just walking around, imagining where things could look cool. Okay, let's put a little bit over here, let's put a little bit over there. And then I'm starting to put a little patches of grasses, but at the same time, I'm gonna leave a lot of brown, right? Because it's a pond, you know, and you should be able to see dirt and mud or anything like that. So that's the approach of this scenario. So, you know, I'm just putting cobblestone over here. We're putting the brick mossy path right over here. We're adding some details of grass over here and leaving some dirt. And that's the approach. And when you are doing this, right, have fun with it again, you know. There's not a perfect way. I don't have a perfect system with this, you know. It's just play as you go, put it as you feel like it, decorate it, have fun, but it's gonna look even better as we continue. I know right now it looks like, what are you doing? This looks like different. It still doesn't look like a pond, right? Don't worry, guys, we still have a lot of decorating to do. We have to put all the flowers, all the seaweed, the river grass. We have to put the light, the different type of lights that we're gonna use here. We gotta do the actual pathing, and then when all that comes together, it really starts making it feel like like this nice pond area that you can walk, and you have this, and it's a nice visual pond, you know. It's hard, it's even hard for me to explain, you know, but okay, but we're still working, right? So now I'm working on the border of the pond, right? I'm just imagining, okay, I'm gonna put grass here, grass, let me leave this spot over here, maybe we'll put a rock over here. So that's why sometimes you see a little bit of different in the corners. And then I decided to leave some of this yellow grass, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. I think having a little variation is gonna help the pond. It's gonna bring a different type of colors, you know. Not everything again has to be perfect. I'm trying to work with not everything being perfection, right? And because in real life, not everything's perfection. When you go somewhere, all the grass is not perfect, unless it's super fancy area that people spend, you know, to keep that grass really nice. But most of the time, everything's not perfect. So I wanted to go with that approach with this pond, because it's supposed to be a pond, right? It's not like we're taking care of it. There's no sprinkler system. It's just a pond that's right here next to the river. Okay, so now we brought in the water. So we're gonna start seeing how the water starts looking and the effect that the water is making. And now you see how everything looks deep. So I like that feel. And then everything is kind of blending in. It's a little murky, but if you look deep enough, you see the patches of grass, you see the cobblestone, you know, it gives you something to look at, but at the same time it's well hidden within the water. Okay, so now I gotta start figuring out the pathing that's gonna go around this pond. And then I started to notice that I didn't have enough space, you know, so we are gonna have to add more dirt on the side, because the one step sidewalk wasn't wide enough. It wasn't what I was envisioning. I feel like a little more space, and at the same time I also wanted to maybe put a little fencing, and we did that at the end. There's still some things that we're gonna have to rework at the very end, especially to make it fit very nicely. The build itself by the end of this video is done. It's just more of the tweaking, right? Work a little more on the fence, maybe work a little bit more on the little walkway, just a little bit to make a little more sense, you know. But all that is because of the area that I'm on. That's a situation of my island. Depending where you're putting this pond in your island, it may not be that situation. It may work out perfectly that as you're following along, you're done. But I have like the courtyard over here, I have a river canal over here. So there's some things personally that I need to tweak so I can make this area the best it can be, that it flows well with the rest of the island, and that's my goal, right? But as the build itself is done, you know, the build itself is done, and that part is very exciting. Okay, so now we get to one of the exciting part. I was so excited to start using this. This is the first time I start using this in any build, and we're gonna start using the river grass that we can now harvest, that we can now have, and we can start planting in different areas and anywhere that we want, and it's just so exciting. And the great thing that you don't need mud to actually grow this grass, so it's a little bit helpful, because I thought at first we needed to have mud to plant it, and that would have been okay. But now that we don't need to, it's really nice, because it can speed some things up unless you really want mud in this particular build. If you want mud, you can bring mud into this build to give you even a darker color, but I didn't do it. I just stuck around with the normal dirt, and I just wanted to see how that looked. And then we get to use the seaweed. And again, you know, just imagine where you imagine grass to be, and imagine where you want seaweed to be. As you can see, as you can tell my character, I'm just walking around and just, let me put one here and maybe put one over here. Again, it's not an exact science, you know, after looking at so many pictures of ponds and stuff like that, there's not a set way to do it. It's just some ponds have a lot of grass, some of them have seaweed, some of them have lily pads, and they're all scattered everywhere, right? So just do a combination, just play with it until you start feeling, oh, I like this, oh, I like how this looks, and go with that approach. If you go with that approach, you're gonna be able to decorate it the way you want it. It's gonna feel really great, and it's gonna be awesome at the end. I promise you that, you know, because that's the great thing. But at the same time, if you're stuck and you don't know what to do, just follow this along. I know your inspiration will kick in. You will start adding your own things that you want into this build as you continue to build it along with me. Okay, so now I knew I wanted a little bit of light. Once it gets dark, I want to have a little illumination in the bottom of the pond, just a little bit, right? So we only put 3 lamps in the bottom, and the stone lamp, right, guys? The stone lamp is one of those lamps that has been a game changer. We just need that style of lamp, that size, in different colors, different shapes, and then it'll be golden, because then we get to have even more fun in building and decorating. Okay, so now the next thing, you know, after looking at so many pictures of ponds, I noticed at the very edge of the pond, normally that's where there's a lot of grass, there's a lot of plants, and I guess because they're growing because of the water, right? They're very high and heavy, and unless you're keeping something very immaculate. So depending on your approach on this pond, if you're trying to make it very immaculate, then maybe you do want to keep the grass nice and short, maybe do something a little more elegant. But I'm not trying to go for that. I'm just trying to go with a nice pond feeling to it. So I'm just adding now the different type of plants that look kind of like they're growing. They're a little wild. Now we're gonna start adding some a little bit of rocks in specific areas that are already imagined, just to slowly start getting that feel that we need to see if we're heading in the right direction. Okay, so then as I was building this, I had this idea. I was like, oh man, what about if we put a bridge, the 3 wide bridge going 3 deep only, and kind of get to the halfway point of the pond. Then we're gonna build a little platform, kind of you can stand there. But I really wanted to go with the 2, right? The 2 wide bridge, but I needed to go with the 3, so the 3 itself is centered towards the bridge. That was a must for me. It was not gonna work the other way. It always was gonna look off center in that particular way. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with the 3 wide. That's okay. We're gonna make a little platform like you saw right there. And guys, it may not be for everyone, but I did enjoy this. I like this look. I like this feel to it. I just feel like he added something extra to the pond, to the look, to the shape, and now it helped me, because at first I wasn't sure if I was gonna keep the gumwood bench over there. I don't know if I wanted to do something else, but by adding the gumwood bridge, I like this bridge. You know, I didn't go with the dark wood this time. The dark wood is kind of like my favorite bridge. It looks really good. I knew for sure I wasn't gonna use the palm wood, so I went with the gumwood. And again, this is gonna be your choice. You can go with brick, you can go with the dark wood, you can go with the palm wood, just depending where you put in the pond and what color scheme you want. I feel like the gumwood looks really good. I feel like it goes well with the vision that we're building here. So, but it's something I can change. You know, if I get feedback and many of you bring good points that this color is not the best one, then I'm excited to read that. I'm excited to put your opinions and in consideration and see if I need to change it. But right now, I'm just really happy that this idea, I adding this little bridge just to give it a little bit aesthetic, just to give it something extra to the pond. And I like the platform because if we ever get fish to spawn here, then you can kind of like stand on the little platform and go fishing. Okay, so I knew I wanted some lights, you know, I wanted to add some lights on the outside. So I started testing these lights over here. They're also gumwood, and I thought it was gonna look really good because it was gonna match the bridge. And at first I liked it, right? That's why you see me putting them. And I was like, oh, this looks cool and all that. But as I was continuing to build, the height of them, for me, it was starting to bother me. I kind of wanted the focus of the height to be the tree. Everything else is low. And there was something about it as I continued to build. I just was not in love with the lights anymore. They just kind of got in the way. For me, if you like this, go ahead and keep them. Use whatever lights you need to that also complement the build, your surroundings and all of that. But I just was not sold with it. So, but as you can see, I was still building. I was still doing stuff. I started now to adding the different colors. I wanted to add a little warmth to it, so I started adding some of the orange flowers right over here. Then we're gonna add some of the white ones eventually. Now as the days goes by, you can see how the river seagrass is growing and it looks amazing. It's so good. And thank you so much, James, to add this just in this update, to be able to harvest it, to be able to plant them, because now look our creations, look what we can make now. Because before it would have been some other type of plants trying to make that look, but now we can make it like this. Okay, so now we're adding more rocks into the areas that I feel like we need a little more rock, so we can work on some of these edges of the pond. So you know, so it can give it a little more a different shape, right? We want to break things a little bit more, but it's not so heavy on the rock. It's just like rock clusters in different areas, and then that's it, right? It's not too much, not too many, like a cluster over here, a cluster over there, but then very minimum in 2 different other areas, right? So, and that's the approach, because we don't want to make it too heavy. We just want to make it that there's more visual point to enjoy and to have fun with. Okay, so now I moved the bench, and as you can see, I added the stone lamps, and you see the height different. I like the stone lamps better. It feels better. It doesn't interrupt your eyesight, and the main focus when it comes to the height is the tree. And I don't know if you've been paying attention on the tree, but as we keep skipping days and fast forwarding and keep working on this project, the tree is looking better and better and better, and it just gets fuller and fuller, and it's just so exciting, right? Okay, so this is one of those things that I told you earlier. I am gonna work on all this fencing. I just put it in for now. It just because I needed to close it because I knew I was gonna have that, but it's not perfect for my area. It doesn't affect the build, it just affects the way I'm walking around this build for me, for my area, for the design. So that's something that I gonna work a little off camera, but because it did not need it to be for this build, because it's just the outside, it's just the little touches. Okay, so I added now the lily pili seed. We're gonna kind of block a little bit of that dirt, you know, and bring a little bit, just a little more grounded, a little more greenery in the middle of this tree area. And then now, since I am in love with the way the stone lamps looks right over here, so I knew I was gonna add the little mossy green brick pathing right there, because it was just gonna work so much better, right? It's instead of just being there all cement, that's what's gonna complement the build much better. And then here, I love this little seating area now. We moved it back, we elevated, we put some stairs to it, and then when you get there and sit, and the view that we get, ooh, that view is so good. I'm just so happy with it. Okay, and also we added lily pads, we added the pink flowers, you know, and everything is just moving along, right? So now we're working on a lot of the final details. Just I needed to work a little bit more the entrance here, but again, this little entrance over here, again, it's just I needed to do something so at least it looks finished for my area. But the transition from where I'm coming from to enter this area is not the best. It's something that I gotta work on. A lot of this will have to be readjusted and redesigned just a little bit, so everything flows nice, right? That's always my goal, is the transition between one area and the other. I want that to flow, so it's very important for me that this works, and that's something that I gotta work on. And again, it doesn't affect the build of the pond, it's just more the transition in my own island. So, and I'm excited to hear how your pond really helped your island. In what type of transition did you use it? If you like this design, how did you tweak it? I'm just curious about all of that, because I think it's just amazing what some of you come up with when you get inspiration, when you see this type of builds and then you add it into your island, and the way you actually tweak them and make them better. I've seen so many of you guys adding more into the designs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't think of that. That's so cool. But guys, here we are. We're gonna do our walkthrough. We're gonna see the tree, and you see how it looks from far away? Like it's just this massive jacaranda tree, very tall, very wide, and I just feel like when you look at it from far away and the distance, it just stands out. It just looks really, really good, you know? There's another thing that we could do. We could have more of the trunks by planting more of the lily-pilly tall bushes all the way around. Maybe I'll test that out, because I do like it how it kind of covers the trunks now and then, and it hides the illusion. It makes the illusion even better, the perspective. But look at the pond. I think the pond came out great. I think now this area fits better. It transitioned from one area to the another. That's gonna be best. But look at the viewpoints in different areas now in my island. Like when you go over here on the boardwalk, because that was just to look at the museum, but now we have that, and you see how that tree looks? It just fills the air. It's just so massive. And looking from the parking garage, look at this. I'm in love with it. It just doesn't matter where you go. Now we go in the museum, you see this tall jacaranda tree, very powerful, so amazing, and it's just so great. But guys, you made it to the end of the video, and this is just such an exciting time. I hope that you have enjoyed everything that this pond can offer. I hope it have brought you a lot of inspiration, that it really is gonna push the limits of what you're gonna do in your island. And then, did you see that view? That view was just stunning. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit a like, subscribe if you wanna see more videos, and we'll see you next time. Alright guys, see you later. Bye.